Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get in the Garage,
a music podcast
for music lovers. I am Mike here with Luke and a stone-faced Jeff.
I'm going to start every episode just staring at the camera.
Please do. It sets the tone. It's an ominous tone. Speaking of ominous tones, we're going to talk about jazz today.
There's some good tones.
Very good tones. We each picked one album each.
Yes.
All the albums, I think, were recorded in the 1950s.
The greatest period in jazz music, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Sorry, Charlie Parker, but basically once you died and then for the next 6 years is like the best jazz music ever made.
Yeah.
What do you know about Benny Goodman, bro? Get out.
Well,
looks like, have you heard of that Count Basie?
It's a joke. I'm not that.
It's just all that stuff in the mid-late 50s. It's like so crystal clear and
yeah, man.
And it's great music.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, let's kick into it, right? We have two of them actually up behind us. The third we don't have, but so my pick is Introducing Johnny Griffin. Luke is Sun Ra, Sun Song, and Jeffrey is Ahmad Jamal, and the name of the record is?
I don't know. Live at the Pershing.
Yeah, Live at the Pershing. But there's like a title like attached
whatever
to
it is. I never remember what it is.
Yeah.
I'll get out my phone when I feel like it.
Okay. I can't get mine out today. I feel
mine.
vulnerable. I have the computer though, so I'll be all right. All right, well, Jeff, why don't you lead us off, man? We can go with your he said
whenever he gets his phone up. That is Ahmad Jamal at the Pershing, but not for me.
But
is
not for me, right?
Subtitle.
Right. Is there a date on there?
The date of this album.
1958, baby.
1958. Okay.
So this is an album by piano virtuoso Ahmad Jamal, recorded in Chicago at the Pershing Hotel in what I assume was the ballroom or some kind of dining room or bar or whatever they had there in the south side of Chicago, 63rd. And don't remember, but south side Chicago. It was a piano trio. And it was Ahmad Jamal on piano, Israel Crosby on bass, and Vernel Fournier, later known as Amir Rushdan, on drums. A trio of black musicians who had been in Chicago for a little bit of time, if not longer. And it's a live album cut from, I think it was like 45 songs, and they selected 8 songs for this record release. It is a crispy, less than 31 minutes album. It's live, so you hear like some silverware and glasses and a little bit of muffled talk.
Yeah, I love that.
Talking, but
it's a very much like nightclub atmosphere. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
And
I assume it was like a whole. Maybe not like the dinner rush, but I would think if it was 45 songs, I'm maybe recorded from 8 to midnight or 8 to 1 or
I think it was like a couple of sets with breaks in between. So
Right.
I think like playing for like pretty much all night.
Yeah.
And Ahmad Jamal is I chose this record because the last time we did jazz picks, I picked like Cuban jazz by Dizzy Gillespie that was like very kind of tribal and like earthy and all that stuff. And for this selection, I wanted to choose something that's a little bit more sophisticated, I guess, by the like general definition of what that is.
Yeah.
And Ahmad Jamal is one of my favorite piano players. He is like the master at the high, like 2 octaves, that really plinky, like crazy, delicate, articulate stuff on the high notes. My introduction to Ahmad Jamal was when I was going through my like starting to love jazz music phase when I was 9 or 10 years old, and I would take out every album that was in the library and stuff, and you could borrow like 2 at a time from one library, 3 at a time from another library. I'd always have like stacks of CDs I was borrowing from different libraries.
I still owe books to the Slater Library.
Oh, well, get those late fees. I think they cap it at $10, so I think you're fine.
It's the same price as it was as when this album came out, actually. 10 cents.
Can't show my face in this library.
Yeah.
So I first heard Ahmad Jamal playing a cover of Waltz for Debbie, which was made famous by Bill Evans' version. And I just remember the introduction. It said, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous genius of the piano, Mr. Ahmad Jamal. And then he starts playing because it was like a live cut on a greatest hits compilation. And it's true. He is a real genius at like that beautiful, twinkly stuff. It very like light, fast, fleety fingers, but also can really do those very smooth ballads very beautifully. And he's not like it's not like Liberace or like some showboating like kind of stuff. It's very like fits the song and very minimal, or when he is doing like kind of boppy like it's very what's needed. It's not just like a lot of random notes. And the other guys are great. It's a great trio. It's hot shit. It's 8 tracks, and they are all covers primarily of like musical theater songs that were big in the mid 30s to mid 40s. So when I was doing a little bit of research about the background of this recording, I was thinking like, so this trio, Ahmad Jamal was in his late 20s. The other 2 guys were within like 7-8 years of the same age. And they're playing like a repertoire that was like the pop songs of their parents' generation. Yeah. So you got like just picturing them at this like very big hotel in Southside Chicago, Black-owned hotel, famous like site of like a lot of racial segregation, conflicts, and blah 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 blah, and just like in a very thriving Black neighborhood of like, this is an epicenter for this culture, for jazz, and for Black culture. And they're playing like the nighttime background music for like 50 and 60-year-olds, I assume. Because maybe some kids are there, but it seemed like it was more like an older audience, and it was like them busting out the hits that everybody there would know. Not necessarily like trying to break new ground. Yeah. There's no originals on this album, but it's like the best version of interpreting music that's not really of your generation, and like kind of giving it back in your own flavor and your own vocabulary musically. Especially because it's like a trio, and like all of these recordings were big band in their original format. So it's almost like, it's like taking like this crazy thing and like just playing it with like an acoustic guitar. So like that is also like where a lot of the flavor is. Like what's the track? Moonlight in Vermont, like that song.
I was gonna cite that one too.
Yeah, that's like the killer of the album. Yeah. That I heard that tune actually for the first time, I think, on a Benny Goodman record a couple weeks ago.
What do you know about Benny Goodman?
Right, because I was spinning a Benny Goodman record.
We need a soundboard back.
I looked up
just clarinets.
But no, you're right. But I was like actually just looking up that song a couple weeks ago, and then have it come on here. I was like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. You know what I mean? And it's like that's such a beautiful song, and what a great ballad. Also, like, as I claimed last week, shout out to New England.
Shout out to New England.
True.
Yeah, bro. We had a whole conversation where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take Aerosmith in the battle of like if I get to claim like a band regionally, like they're in my grasp. Yeah. And this album sold a lot. It's a very big album. Poinciana, his version of that jazz standard is like. Thank you for pronouncing that.
You're welcome.
Because I was like, I'm not going to say it out loud first.
It's basically a Spanish poinsettia.
Say it again?
Poinciana.
Thank you.
And it's like...
Like Pocahontas?
Poinciana is like, it's very just like kind of chords with the melody slipped in there. And the drum beat is like... Doom, 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 like with these cool toms. A couple of these tracks, I've been familiar with his music for over 20 years, but I liked in The Wolf of Wall Street uses 2 of the tracks from this album on that soundtrack. Surrey with the Fringe on Top and Moonlight in Vermont are both in that movie.
Oh, I didn't even know that. No shit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because this is like the music that like evokes like kind of that like upper class fancy pants jazz piano music.
You know what's funny? Like, when I was listening to him, I don't know. This might be a stretch. I don't know, but I feel like he is very much the jazz version of an Eric Satie. Do you know Eric Satie? He did he was like a French. I mean, would you call it an impressionist composer? I think it's like from that era, but it's like all dialed back. We'll have to. I'll play you a track afterwards, and you'll know immediately what you're listening to. But yeah, like I love the minimalism. I think it's so brave too to just go out as a trio.
Yeah,
just go out as a trio, and you're the piano man. The melody all sits on your shoulders.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's like at least with a 4 or 5 piece band, you can kind of like rotate in and out. You know what I mean? Like you do the main phrase of the song, and everybody has their turn. He's got to carry it the whole time. And I saw some criticisms of him. Yeah, what was it? A 1958 Downbeat review was mildly negative, referring to it as playing cocktail music. But my thing is like
that's what it fucking was. I mean,
right, but what I'm saying is what's wrong with that?
That's what I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose at the time, especially if it's 1958, there's a lot happening. So I guess people are critics. But the critics are critical, but the musicians are the ones who are like, no, this guy's got it.
I mean, you got to think, like, Kind of Blue is what, 58, 59? Kind of Blue?
59, yeah.
59.
So, I mean, this is like high art, like, standards, like doing them in like a cool, original, fresh way. But you got to think like the other end of the breaking ground is like pushing a free jazz, but you also had this like weird movement of like towards the end of the 50s of like soul jazz and like smooth art, you know what I mean, like R&B jazz.
Yeah.
So like, and like the this record reminded me a ton of a record that came out in the 60s on the same label, the Argo label, the In Crowd by
Ramsey Lewis Trio.
Yeah, this record reminds me of that record, but this is like a classier version of that record, where this is like the Cocktail Hour, High Society of Chicago a couple years earlier. Like the Ramsey Lewis record is more of like a college like
dance party.
Yeah, like
Friday
dance
night.
party jazz, but like it's the same, almost the same vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where like I thought it was like in a movement of like the R&B jazzy, but it's like standards,
Yeah, I mean, this is as good as cocktail music, piano trio stuff gets, which is like
like when you listen to it,
it's the point of that was the gig.
Yeah.
Play you're a bunch of 20 and early 30s guys hired at a swanky hotel, play stuff that people recognize, but don't take up a lot of musical space because it's fucking dinner time.
Right.
It's like, and it's a great music, man. Like, I mean, he is on the short list of my favorite piano players, period. Just stylistically and just his skills and his taste and his interpretation of music. He's on the short list. He's always in the top 5.
Yeah.
In my opinion, for me.
I wasn't super familiar with him before listening to this.
And he's still alive.
And I really enjoyed it.
He is still alive. He's 91 years old.
Yeah.
When I looked it up, I was like, because I saw the Wikipedia picture, and I was like, what? He's still alive? I was because the picture looked like recent. I was like, oh, he's 91. So is
I don't know if he still plays, but
Sonny Rollins, right? He's still alive too.
Sonny Rollins is, as far as I know, still alive.
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's look it up.
Pretty crazy.
As far as I know. And Sonny Rollins, I don't even think is 90 yet.
He is also 91.
Oh, he is.
And his Wikipedia picture is crazy.
Because it's him when he's 85 years old.
Yeah, and his hair's gray. And it's just
he's
like,
a
poof.
gray beard, probably.
Yeah. But it's just the way the sun is shining. I'm sorry, the lighting is shining through like the back of his hair. It's like lit up purple. Yeah, it looks cool.
That's the touch of God on his shoulders, man.
Yeah, man. Super conscious.
Before we move on to, I just want to say, like, I know I talk about this record a lot, especially on like the Christmas episode we did. But if you're into the Charlie Brown Christmas record,
the Vince
like
Guaraldi stuff.
If that's like the only jazz you know,
this is perfect.
You will love this record. There's no reason you shouldn't love this record, because that's like
this is an easy sidestep.
Yeah, it's the only jazz record like that everybody likes. You'll like this as well. So because it's the same instrumentation.
Yep.
If anything, If anything, New England coming out. It's like it's less aggressive than like he's way less aggressive than Vince Guaraldi's piano playing. Like Vince Guaraldi's way more like bebop-y.
Right.
You know, this is like way more relaxed. So
yeah,
man, this is like kick off your shoes, get home from work, put this thing on. It's a half hour.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any if it's available for the total 43 recorded tracks.
I don't think so, but he did.
It's probably in a vault somewhere.
He did. Well, he did do. There is a second live at the Pershing, but I don't know if that was a second recording or if that's additional tracks.
Okay.
But there is a part of volume 2 or whatever.
I bet you.
That one.
I'm gonna make this prediction now. Within the next 5 years.
This one here.
Within the next 5 years, there's gonna be a record store day release.
Luke found it.
No, I'm pretty sure there was a full like Ahmad Jamal for the Argo label. I think there's like a box set that exists.
Yeah.
So he did a volume 2 released 3 years later.
Yeah.
So
And
I
then
assume that's a different recording.
There's also a cross country tour from 58 to 61, so being like the same years.
Yeah, if you like Vince Guaraldi, if you like Bill Evans, if you like Red Garland, if you like Errol Garner, like this, you know, he's Ahmad Jamal, the genius of the piano.
Very classy.
True. Very classy.
Great record. Made me want to look it up and like get the record. So, and not an expensive record to even get an original pressing of. It's only like a $25 record, if that.
To answer your question, yes, the selections on the At the Pershing Volume 2 are selections from the same January 1958 engagement at the Pershing Lounge.
Because I listened to Volume 2 a lot. I chose Volume 1 because it's more well known, so I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, it's from the same.
Nice.
Yeah,
because Volume 2 is also short. That's probably 35 minutes as well.
It doesn't have a run.
But right, it's like 10 tracks probably.
11.
If that, yeah.
Yeah.
So Ahmad Jamal, but not for me.
Yes.
Live at the Pershing. Check it out, man.
Yeah.
Piano trio.
Also, the complete Ahmad Jamal trio is available from the Argo label. So I'm guessing if there's anything that was from those sessions, it's on that box. It's a 9 CD set. So
only available on CD.
Probably. I don't think I didn't really look it up, but I'm gonna imagine
it's probably only available on CD. Right on. All right. Well, there you have it. Luca, shall you?
Good sound effects.
Now that we're cracking open a new album, crack open a new non-sponsored seltzer water.
It's from Aldi.
Aldi.
It's no brand.
Aldi's.
Aldi's. Okay. Aldi's nuts.
Aldi's nuts. Across the street from Walmart's. Gotta eat your soda. Anyway, carry on. So it's weird. We drop some R's, but we just magically create them at some the other end.
Do not include me in that because I never have and I never will.
Nor will I, but we all know one. We all know
some
one.
of us have many of them in our family.
Hey, man. It's from New England. From Norwich.
Do you ever have an English teacher that says "I dear"?
Norwich.
Oh, I dear.
Norwich.
Norwich. Norwich.
Norwich. Norwich.
Norwich.
I'm here to talk about Sun Ra. If this is our intermediate episode, we're moving on a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's get Sun Ra is.
Can we?
Yeah, we definitely
move
can.
On. We can't move on without fixing this.
We're gonna fix the mic here as we move on.
There we go.
So Sun Ra is a.
Well, can you read? I want you to read the first paragraph while describing Sun Ra. That's what I want you to read. I just want you to read this paragraph as his description.
Born and raised in Alabama, Blount, his original name, became involved in the Chicago jazz scene during the late 1940s. He soon abandoned his birth name, taking the name Lee Sunray Ra, shortened to Sun Ra, after Ra, the Egyptian god of the sun. Claiming to be an alien from Saturn on a mission to preach peace, he developed a mythical persona, an idiosyncratic credo that made him a pioneer of Afrofuturism, mentioned on last week's episode. Throughout his life, he denied ties to his prior identity, saying, "Any name that I use other than Ra is a pseudonym."
Thank you.
So that is Sun Ra.
Wow.
From Saturn.
Xenu would be proud.
Yes. So Sun Ra pretty much was like one of the first David Bowie type characters who was like, I'm born out of nowhere. I'm like gonna take on this whole thing. For that too, he was like the first person in jazz in like that whole scene to like really take on like obviously the pursuit like the Afrofuturism.
Yeah. The whole persona.
Yeah.
And we'll say first
Egyptian.
popular because
the first
there could have been other Saturnians before him. I don't know.
Yes. But he pretty much took this on and really like just arrived in New York and yes. Oh, actually, Chicago first, where this was made. He went to Chicago first, then New York. But so he was pretty much centered around Chicago. And in the 50s, like we were talking about earlier in the last record, there's more of like a small trio thing going on in the hard bop, bebop scene. So you pretty much have like like trumpet, a sax player, keyboards, bass, drummer. Like that's pretty much your lineup for everything. So Sun Ra led a big band with multiple instruments. He pioneered the electric keyboard in jazz, and all that stuff. So anyways, these are big band arrangements, and they're pretty out there. They're pretty out there in the sense of a big band. But they're also pretty conventional in a lot of senses, so that's why I like chose it, because it's like dipping your feet in the weird, but it's not like super weird.
It's not like a late Coltrane at Newport,
or
where it's just like
it's not like a Sun Ra recording where it sounds like he shook like like sheet metal for like 5 minutes, like whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm a sheet metal virtuoso.
Who's doing that?
I have like a Sun Ra record if you want to take it out later, where it's like.
Okay.
Can I study with a private teacher to learn how to sheet metal?
Yes, I have one. He's from Saturn. Hold on, let me go.
Let me make a transmission.
Let me
to
beam
his
him
home
in.
planet.
So
can we say the name of this record?
Yeah, so the name of this record, this is Sun Ra's first release. It's called Sun Songs, or The Jazz of Sun Ra, which it was originally released as.
And this is his debut.
Yeah, his first thing like that was ever put to wax.
And he was in his mid 40s when this was released, because he was born in the teens, 1914, 15 or something.
Right. So this
is also from 56, 57, something.
Recorded 56, released 57.
There you go. Yeah, so like this is straight, like you were saying too, like those were young guys in the last record playing standards. This is like a guy of that age, like playing the music of his childhood. You know what I mean? So like these are mostly original tunes, but it's like his take on that kind of music. So first of all, like the instrumentation's pretty out there. It's got like a timpani solo.
When that comes in on the second track, I was like, now it's a Sun Ra record.
Right. So like the that's on the track "Call for All Demons."
Yeah.
It's just one of the best things like I've ever heard in
That
jazz,
song, dude,
like he
that
hits the
entire
timpani
song.
and he bends it so it's and it's like going in and out of pitch.
Yeah.
It's so it's such an original idea, and it's something you've never really heard before, right? It just sounds. That's why this record still sounds fresh to me.
Who got just as a what this song made me think of, "Call for All Demons." This is the one that sounds like when in Dumbo during the Elephants on Parade section where they're like salsa dancing. It's like it's like that vein. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it has like dick, 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 dick.
Oh, the clave stuff, all of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Like that stuff, it's like so like
Right.
it's so good because I think his band is big. Like he has that punch. Like the whole thing just happened. You know what I mean?
And these are pretty conventional songs. They aren't super space explorations. They are
they're like normal
followable tracks. Yeah, they're big band songs.
Yeah, there's no song over here like that's over the 5-minute mark either. So like there's that. The side 2 opener, Lullaby for Realville, the hand claps in there. Those were like such like an R&B influence thing that like I dug that. I was like, you could use that today and it would still sound good.
Yeah.
The last song though, the closer, Sun Song, probably the most experimental track on the record. It's got electric keyboards in it.
Hammond organ
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So for me, like that is like probably the most unconventional thing on the record, but one of the most beautiful thing on the records. It's like such a great mood piece. I feel like everything on here is rather cinematic, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, like it would be great to score to old Disney like works, and like shocker, Sun Ra is a big Walt Disney fan. Sun Ra covers Elephants on Parade, by the way. Look it up.
Oh, does he?
Hell yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
So
He has an orchestra of elephants playing.
Didgeridoos. 10,000 didgeridoos.
somebody cut it with the film on YouTube. So if you like look it up on YouTube,
You can watch it with his.
yeah.
That's
It's super good.
That
It's
is
very
cool.
Sun Ra. It sounds a lot like this record, to be honest with you. So it's not that far off from it. But
Yeah, it's cool how it's like it's jazz, but it is in a way sort of like old school like film score vibe.
Yeah,
you know?
he was very influenced by this musical genre that emerged basically in between World War II and Korean War called Exotica, which is like this lounge tiki bar music that's like trying to evoke kind of that like Eastern Asian and kind of like jungle music, and it's a little bit mixed with bossa nova. And he was very influenced by these like theremin recordings and all that like sci-fi score music from the late 40s, early 50s. You can hear some of the influence on this record. The one non-original on that record is by Harry Revel, who was a guy who composed like weird, I mean not weird, but like Exotica and sci-fi music with theremin and all that kind of stuff. So like there's tracks where you hear, that's Possession, I believe is the Harry Revel song, but you hear tracks where it's like some of the percussion is like a jangle of like wind chimes maybe and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it
like,
almost sounds like keys and like
Yeah.
it's like tingly. It's almost like it has like a ASMR kind of
Right.
thing going on in the background of a lot of it.
And the instrumentation, I forget the man's name, but like the Barry sax guy played with him until they died, until the early 90s. And so having like that Barry sax and the timpani and the, you know, like it's a very wide sonic palette, so it's like a very deep, thick, rich sound.
Yep.
You're thinking of John Gilmore?
Yes.
And
Well, let me make sure. I believe so.
John Gilmore's on tenor sax. We have
Patrick is the
Pat
Barry
Patrick's
sax
on.
player.
But those two players did play with him until
Patrick,
Because
and I love Barry sax, man. Might be my favorite.
I mean, this album to me, like I'm more familiar with the Sun Ra stuff when it gets really wacky in like the mid 60s. I had never heard this record before. I love this. Like I like his later more experimental stuff too, but this was like, it was pretty conventional. It was kind of like what Birth of the Cool, the Miles Davis non-tet or whatever that is, where it is kind of some strange instrumentation because he has like a tuba and French horn in a big band setting, but it's that kind of thick, rich, dense sound. And this actually, like clarity wise, you can hear the things a little better on the Sun Ra, and it's like pretty straightforward jazz. Like if someone said, if you were to suggest a Sun Ra record, I would suggest this first, because I don't think this could turn anybody off. This is very pleasing, like beautiful music.
That's why I like wanted to pick a Sun Ra record, because like people, like when you hear Sun Ra, like that's what you're like, oh, he's a goddamn weirdo. It's the same shit with like Captain Beefheart, but then you're like, oh, but then you're like, Captain Beefheart's first record is so accessible and super easy to listen to. It's great. It's one of the best records of the 60s. Same thing with this. This is like so because this was, I walked into the record store, was curious about Sun Ra. This was there, and this is the one I bought. Brought it home, and I was like, oh, I instantly love it. Didn't have to work on it at all. So that's where I was like, this is, because then you can be like, I do enjoy Sun Ra, and it's not so tabooed and like too cool for school. You know what I mean? So like, that's why I wanted to choose something like this.
Yeah, this is perfect. Like, wake up in the morning and put this on immediately.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's what I literally did.
That's
this
what
morning.
I did too. I didn't have time this week to listen to these a lot, so that I had to cram them all this morning at 8 a.m.
And it has like the one more thing I want to say. It's got like the great muted trumpet sound.
Yeah, the Harmon mutes. Yeah,
like there's one chorus that's like, and then the Barry's like hitting the act, like the whatever the returns on it, but it's like that like contrast of all that going on, and it's multiple, so it's almost got like this Phil Spector-y approach to it. It's really wonderful.
I went deep on mutes. I heard those mutes happening, and I was like, oh, let me research trumpet mutes.
Yeah, because there's that one solo that's like
It's very informative. The Wikipedia page
on trumpet mutes,
because there are a bunch, and I'm pretty familiar since my dad's a brass player, but it's cool. Like if you check out the Wikipedia page, mutes, and then like use in trumpet, it actually describes each type of mute and the characteristics, and mutes are basically just they're low pass filters. So, but it says like the Harmon mute lets notes from 800 kilohertz to 1800 kilohertz come through, and it's cool to like look at that and be like, that's what these guys are doing. This is like, that was like live music mixing and tweaking is, that's why they came up with mutes, is to be like, I want to get a sound that's like higher and further away sounding.
My favorite really mute is a hat.
The hat, it's a good one. It's like a plunger.
I love the plunger too.
So dumb.
I like the Harmon the most. The Harmon is like it's the brightest, most. That's like the Miles Davis. A lot of Harmon stuff. But a cup mute is nice. It's like little like.
The ones on this record are like insane sound. It's very cool.
Yeah, I think they're Harmons, and if not Harmons, they're like straight mutes.
Yeah.
But it's a great record, and it's one of those records where you I'm not gonna lie, it's one of those records where you feel way cooler after being like, oh yeah, I'm into Sun Ra. So like enjoy it.
And that closer, man.
Enjoy your hierarchy.
Finishing with the Hammond organ.
Oh, Sun Songs is like it's the most.
It was a great flow of an album.
Yeah.
So quick shout out to a new listener, our friend Jesse. So he told me a story.
Jesse Katsanopoulos?
Yeah, Jesse Katsanopoulos. Actually, it's Jesse Konstantinopoulos Papa Lavamakis.
Poulos.
Hyphen Poulos. But no, I basically, I work with this kid, so the guy rather. And he told me how like he was listening to this album because he's like, I told him, I was like, hey man, we're gonna do jazz for the next one. Do you want me to just tell you what the albums are if you want to listen to them before we drop the episode? And he told me that he was like in his kitchen with this on a Bluetooth speaker, and he was doing like, like exercises and like stretches and like lunges and like high kicks and stuff
in his kitchen
to this record. Or maybe if it was in his dining room, the way his house is set, it could have been in his dining room. I'm not sure where he was.
Sure.
But possibly in the living room.
Open floor plans.
But he's like
chopping onions and doing lunges at the same time.
But I guess he told me that so he's he's doing like high kicks, and his husband walks into the room and he sees him doing like high kicks listening to Sun Ra, and he's like, what the fuck are you listening to?
He's wearing a tinfoil hat and a robe.
Are you saying we got Jesse to listen to a Sun Ra record?
Yes, we did, baby.
Wow, we're changing hearts and minds.
Yeah, man.
Open up.
I don't know if he's a huge jazz fan, but I don't think so. But
you don't have to be jazz,
right? But that's what I mean.
That's these 3 albums,
right? They're so approachable, but they're also like there's a little bit of that sort of Anyway, let's take a quick break. We come back. We'll cover my last one. Sounds good.
Wow.
A
music podcast.
Can I give a clap?
Right, that's about
My jam
that is my jam, maybe.
On the second album where he's like, I can't be satisfied. What you want me to do? So glam.
Yeah.
Glamorous. Welcome back, by the way, everyone. Luke's got a guitar. I'm eating an orange.
I bought my Electro-Harmonix Bad Stone phaser, not because Kevin Parker from Tame Impala uses it on many songs, but because that is the sound of Big Star's Ballad of El Goodo.
It is.
That
I do love a good phaser, though.
Early 70s phaser, man. And the Bad Stone is the one for me. Because I think that's a 6-stage phaser.
I don't know.
As opposed,
I haven't nerded out of guitar gear in such a long time.
Most phasers are 4-stage, but I believe it's a 6-stage. So it has like a wider sweep.
Oh, yo! Speaking of guitar shit,
Please.
If I have to watch, this is...
Have to.
If I
Did we clap yet?
I forgot that, yeah.
If I see one more video of somebody going, what does a $4,000 guitar sound like versus a $300 guitar? I'm going to murder somebody.
I love when you
I'm
use
gonna
the mic
murder,
like an ice cream cone.
murder somebody.
Delicious.
That video has been
You
done
should see the levels right now. They're going crazy.
a bajillion times. We all know that the more expensive guitar probably doesn't sound that much better. It probably just plays better.
Oh, yeah.
Also, here's the real
So,
fucking
like,
question.
who
What
cares?
amp are you using?
Also, let's just talk. This is on the now it's on. It used to be a YouTube video, and there was a jillion and 5 YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Now,
A jillion and
You're
5.
getting dangerous with the hands here.
Now-
You're almost knocking cups over.
we have TikTok. So now it's like a TikTok video. I don't give a shit what your guitar sounds like. Go eat. Get the hell out of it.
Go eat some fruit.
Aye. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of those videos, and usually the more expensive one does sound slightly more, ever so slightly. But it's really, you know what the difference between a $200 guitar and a $2,000 guitar is? The fucking edge of the frets that rip up your hands on a $200 guitar.
Yeah.
You ever play a $200 guitar in Guitar
where
Center?
they're not-
and
yep,
you're like,
and they
oh, fuck.
Yeah,
it
you're like
hurts.
once in a while.
Or you're
good.
trying to slide chords and you're like,
Once in a while, you found like this crazy one that's just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But like it's like but that's what I'm saying. Like that video is so nuts and it's so dumb. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
There's a
And
lot of those kinds of videos
they're
out now, though.
so-
They're like, hey, you're playing it all wrong. And then they like do something stupid, ridiculous, and you're like,
Word of
okay.
advice: buy a $700 guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay someone who knows what they're doing, $100 to $200 to spruce it up.
And then
Yeah.
never practice.
Never practice. Cram it all the day before the gig.
Oh, you want to talk about
and
that?
keep
I did
it
a gig
rolling.
last night.
Did you? Here we go.
Okay, so I did a gig last night. Very fun. At Strange Brew Pub in Norwich. And we did the Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 1 and 2 soundtracks, 21 songs. And I knew I have played one of the 21 songs previously. And so I had to learn 20 songs on keyboards, which is, I'd rather play guitar. I'm a little better at guitar. I played keyboards. I sang lead vocals on 6 of the songs, I think. And I learned all 20 of those songs in the 3 days before the gig because I'm a fucking idiot. Okay? I am the meme where the guy's looking in the mirror, he goes, why are you like this? I am that guy.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
I know,
went,
so am I.
I went, you know what? I'll listen to this shit for like a week. I'll get it like up here in the noggin, which really, for me personally, that's 90% of the work.
Yeah.
But then I sat down on Wednesday afternoon and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? Why?
20 songs. 1, 2, 3, go.
But you know what? I did what I think is important, which is really practice those first 8 hard.
Yeah.
Know the first half of that set to be like, oh, impress people. The last 6, 7 songs, people are gonna have a couple more drinks.
It's jazz, baby.
I'm looking down at my hands, and luckily I'm playing keyboard, so it gives me kind of a reason to sit and have the iPad in front of me. And I'm looking down at my hands. I'm covering like a Wurlitzer part in one hand, a strings part in the other hand. I'm looking at the iPad and kind of like peripheral at my hands and going, oh, these are not the right chords. Or I'm thinking like A, D, E. And I'm looking at my hands. I'm like, uh-oh, wrong.
I quite enjoy that Raspberry song.
Luckily, I got to sing lead vocals and only had to do string part, little like whole note things on the chorus.
Nice.
I like that song. Great soundtrack. Great
Yeah. Oh,
time.
yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, if I couldn't name everybody's name, but maybe I could. But all the musicians I played with was an excellent experience. No real practice. We got together and played through like some trouble spots for an hour beforehand. Packed house. Paid gig. I didn't expect to get paid. I assumed we might get some money. Paid more than I would think for a 9-piece band. I think there were like 120 to 150 people came in there at some point.
Nice.
Which is pretty much like packing it out. Surprise hit of the night. And another song that I practiced to death, so it was going to be great. Please.
Is it the Redbone tune?
No, because I knew that would be a hit.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That was the second song, and that was the only song I knew going into the gig beforehand. The surprise hit, which to me is not a surprise because it's a secret love. I love the song. Escape, the Pina Colada song.
Oh.
Because that
Every Karen in the building is like,
every single person, every 21-year-old person.
Yeah, it's a great tune.
Every 22-year-old guy, every 40-year-old girl, every 60-year-old woman, and singing along. Luckily, I got to sing lead vocals on that because I would, singing is the thing I want to do the most. And that was a rock to the house. You just see a crowd of 100 people like this.
Oh my gosh. My mom was obsessed with that song.
Man.
It was on like a Island Party CD.
Oh, yeah.
Island Party Hits, Volume
That's
20.
We bought it at like parties to the Ordo.
Yeah.
That's right. So, a successful gig, fun gig.
Yeah.
Played with a lot of great musicians. A full house. Word of advice to any musicians out there: practice more than 3 days before the gig.
Yeah.
Like,
just do the week if you're feeling lazy.
If you
just
like-
give yourself at least 7 days.
A week is good. 3 days was a lot of cramming because it was basically like kind of learn everything the first day, brush up on the second day, and then the day of the gig, go, well, the stuff that's good is good. The stuff that isn't, well, you'll see how it is on.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I only felt like pretty like, about one song. Yeah. And it was really just the outro of Mr. Blue Sky.
Where it goes, Mr. Blue Sky?
That.
Where it goes to a completely different key. And it is pretty simple. It's 1-4-5, like, with one pedal, but still I'm just like, oh my God, I fucking didn't even learn these chords.
Thanks a lot, ELO. It's a great song.
I hate the outro though.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I just want more like, yeah,
you just want that for
I just want that the whole
or however long it is.
Yeah.
It's just like after I hear like the first like turnaround on Layla, I'm like, all right, and skip.
Yeah.
It's like how much more gong?
Great music, man. That Raspberry song, that one was really good. Oh, and I got to there were 2 songs on the list that were like honky tonk country piano. That as soon as I listened to the playlist on Spotify, and I went, I'll never be able to play this. Like, I'd have to be Neo in the Matrix, like downloading a card of like 20 years of piano lessons to be able to even attempt this.
Yeah.
But luckily, the trumpet player Jack, he and I had been in contact before the gig, and he's like, I'm playing trumpet, but honestly, I am a keyboard player. Firstly, so like, if there's anything I could play keyboards on, like, I would happily step in. And I was like, please
play this barrel
and
piano.
He was like, and then it's like, yeah, I'm like, step aside, let me get back in and pound out quarter notes. Come, let the monkey back. Let the monkey back behind the keyboard.
Eddie Van Halen,
get out of here, you scrub. You can't even play a whole note.
Yeah. Do you even know what the black keys do?
I'm Eddie Van Halen, and I need to play Jump.
Yeah. It was a fun time, man.
Good. It was a successful weekend.
A sneaky thing. Not
sneaky.
But the bass player, Nick Kinselmo, who, out of all the people on stage, position-wise, I was like sideways against the wall, and the crowd was like over here. So I was sideways looking at the whole band. He's in the far corner. He had the best like communication, looking around, eyes, cues, nodding stuff, sightline, and he's the bass player for Marvelous Liars.
Oh,
and he's the bass player for the Franklin Brothers Band, which is the New London Steely Dan jazz band. So
you got
I got to do a little bit of singing, a little bit of monkey on the Wurlitzer keyboard. I'm trying to slide into that. Franklin Brothers Band.
Try to talk the Dan.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
That was my night. That was my week.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Michael, why don't you introduce us?
Yeah. Sorry,
to John.
All right, so.
John.
Oh my God, I forgot I was behind that. Okay, so my album selection is introducing Johnny Griffin. This album. What?
You're like turned it around. And you're like, oh, yep, that's paper again.
Yeah, I know. All right, so yeah, I love. I really really love this album. You have Max Roach on drums, incredible. And
Wynton Kelly on keyboards.
Yeah,
maybe?
Wynton Kelly, and then Curly Russell on bass.
Yeah.
This is another one that's cool too. I mean, he has Wynton Kelly on piano to kind of like lean on a little bit, but as being the only, it's kind of like a very just like a classic sort of setup, and I like this album because I feel like Luke and I were talking about it the other day, and I enjoy it from the perspective of kind of being like, he, in my opinion, sort of bridges the gaps between like Cannonball Adderley and Coltrane. You know what I mean? Because he still does the tenor sax thing, which is what Coltrane was doing in the beginning, and he has that sort of Cannonball Adderley kind of like sweetness to the phrases that he plays. He can be explorative in sort of a Coltrane sense, but there's a sweetness to his playing. And
there's a key phrase. He's a smooth motherfucker.
He's a smooth motherfucker, man. Yeah, he's great. He's great. And
he is great.
Recorded by no one other than
Alfred Lyon.
Alfred Lyon.
Rudy Van Gelder.
No, it's one of the two. Is this Blue Note, right?
This is Blue Note, yeah. This is 19, I want to say this is actually like 57.
So maybe just produced by Lyon. Maybe engineered, but...
it just says recording by Rudy Van Gelder on the back here.
Because he was like, give me that money.
Damn right.
Yes, I recorded. I was there. I was there till 2 a.m. recording those boys. Give me that money.
Give me that fucking money. I'm going to re-release this motherfucker in 25 years, too, and I'm going to get more money. So, yeah, an iconic album work by Reed Miles, photographed by Francis Wolff. I just love the Blue Note stuff. I love the recording quality of the Blue Note stuff. I mean, the recording quality to, every album on here is good. And this one definitely doesn't upset, man. That Rudy Van Gelder stuff is just, it's so clean and so crisp, and everything sounds so nice. If you want to see a cool history as well on the Blue Note album covers, there's like a 6-minute Vox video, like VOX, on YouTube that breaks down Francis Wolff and Reed Miles' relationship and how you sort of start getting these sort of iconically Blue Note album covers. It's pretty cool. It's only 6 minutes long. It's worth a watch. But yeah. So I really
like
do
this album.
like this
I think
record.
like the faster tunes on here are more like not super like Charlie Parker-y, but like more in like the bebop-y sense instead of being like in the hard bop sense. There's not like anything like super like just bluesy.
Well, the ones that are, the backing is, but then he's going hot all over it.
Yeah, he's like hot bebop-y over it as opposed to like playing like hard bop-y, right? And like Max Roach too is like a bebop drummer as opposed to like he does play in a lot of great hard bop releases, but like he's more bebop-y, I think. And then like that's for me like the fast songs super like fire playing, pretty like fast and aggressive, but then the slow songs very tuneful, very bluesy, very
beautiful.
Like expressive in that way. But otherwise, if it's a fast tune, it's just like fire ripping. All up and down the.
Yeah, I think the song is nice and easy. I think we were talking about it. Remember the other day, and I think that for me, if we're picking an album apart, which is like what we do, I'd like that as the first track. I like that as the first track instead of a side two. I mean, it's a nice side two opener. But I think that makes a good first track in the way that like Blue Train makes the first good track. Because it has that like it delivers the melody and then you have like the hits. Dun, dun, dun. You know what I mean? You have that sort of back and forth thing that's kind of like an iconic entrance into a jazz album. So it kind of like threw me for a loop.
I like those as side two openers though too.
Yeah, they're nice as side two openers.
Yeah, this one this one opens out the gate like pretty hard and aggressive.
Yeah.
And just like,
But it's a good paced record, I think, because he gives you the fast and the slow and the sweet and the, kind of the pop-ish side of it, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and if we're doing like intermediate records, like the playing on this record is probably like a bit more like difficult to listen to than probably anything else we've talked about.
Yeah.
Like
it's boppy.
In jazz before, it's like it's boppy. So like if you take like the roots of all the other records that we've talked about, like this is that, but just in a different frame of that, and like that, I think this would be like the first album we talked about jazz wise that would make somebody like, ooh, like maybe like tighten up a little bit. But then like you said,
certain sections of it, definitely.
But then like on the ballads, it'll home you back in and give you some kind of grounding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think Chicago Calling, that's like the romantic slow. That's the romantic
second
slow
track.
Yeah,
maybe?
second track. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this record a lot. I'd never heard it before. This is his debut.
Did we do 3 Chicago artists?
3 Chicago.
Well, was Johnny Griffin from Chicago?
I will look that up for you.
Yeah, look that up. This was Rudy Van Gelt. That was recorded in New York.
New York, yeah.
I don't know if he's from Chicago though.
But this was his debut. I had never heard his solo stuff. I'd heard some of his Jazz Messengers stuff. Also, he actually.
Yeah. Oh, he is from Chicago. Yeah.
Johnny Griffin recorded with your choice from Volume 1 of the Jazz Cats.
Yeah, not Dex.
Eddie Lockjaw
Davis. Yeah.
Yeah, his playing is like the boppy stuff I enjoyed because I've listened to jazz music my whole life, so I'm used to the vocabulary and the like kind of like screwy stuff. But it's so well phrased and it's so there's you listen to bop artists and you're like, yeah, there's some, we'll call these wrong notes. There's some wrong notes in this shit. He plays it pretty impeccably. And I think it's a little easier maybe to do that on sax than like say trumpet, because you listen to some like Miles Davis stuff and you're like, yeah, there's some wrong notes. You're doing some wrong like things. This is pretty spot on.
Yeah, and
Beautiful
even
sound.
like the
Super clean.
Great tone.
Yeah, the tone. We were like saying we loved like even like the faster tunes where he does like a run up or down and he like hits it with like a down note. Like yeah, like the honking like expression stabs on things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much fun, man. I really like this record. And I don't how long is it? Because I can't imagine it's that long 40-ish minutes.
Yeah, I think Luke's was the longest, like 45.
Also important to remember that like every
37.
Every record that we're talking about here, well, like obviously with Jeff's because it was recorded live, but this is not recording in the way that people know recording as now. Like this is a band gets in like a really, really nice like acoustic room and they just do takes of songs. Takes until they get the one that they're the happiest with to put it on the album. So every time it's like, all right, take 5, this entire song again, let's go. And you just start from the top and you just fucking, you run it through front to back. So much different in terms of the approach and sort of like, how valuable all of these little musical moments actually are. You know what I'm saying? Because like somebody could have like could take a solo and have a great solo, but then somebody else kind of like flubs a little bit and they're like, all right, just try to recreate that solo. Like you get your shit together. Let's go. Take 5, 6, 7.
Or if it's Miles Davis, he throws a cymbal across the room at you.
You're playing the wrong notes.
You motherfucker. Get the fuck out of this room.
All right, so last question before like we wrap this one up. When would you like listen to this record? Like what? Because like you said, like Sun Ra's like.
I would say afternoon. Yeah. Yours was the morning. Mine was the late night. I would say this is an afternoon record, especially because it's the energy. It's that 4:00 energy.
Yeah,
that you need in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
For me personally,
put a little pep in your step.
Right.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would say either afternoon or like into the evening. Do you know what I'm saying? So like if you're driving around in a city, this is nice to just kind of enjoy the city and play while you're kind of
like jazz in the car.
Oh, I love jazz in the car.
Hate it.
I love jazz in the car. It puts such an interesting perspective on the way that you look at the world as you're driving around with jazz in the car.
You know what's even better than jazz in a car?
Steely Dan. Sorry, I had to go there.
That was perfect. You ever see the back of a $20 bill while listening to Steely Dan?
Man. Red Team Go. There's a man in the bushes.
Better than jazz in a car. Jazz on a speaker when you're riding on a bicycle through a city.
Oh yeah.
That is life. That is because you feel like you are one with the energy of everything going on.
Yeah.
That was like some of my favorite shit ever.
That I haven't done. But yes, driving through a city with some jazz on. There's something classy about it. So it helps if you're in like a nice old American car too or something like that. Like an old
Ford Fiesta.
I would like to interrupt this podcast to ask Michael, What old American cars have you owned recently?
A 2009 Ford Fiesta.
No, it's a 2011. Thank you very much.
What vehicle did you own before that, Mike?
Before the Fiesta, what the heck did I have?
Was it a German BMW?
Well, Volvo.
I'll say no.
Oh no, it was the
I missed the
Volkswagen.
Volvo.
Yeah.
But the Volvo was my fault. I would have still been driving that fucking car if I hadn't totaled it.
What? Well, of course, I guess.
How'd you total it, Mike?
I'm surprised that lady didn't die. That's all I have to say. It was very,
God
very
bless
scary.
her.
It was very scary. She was very sweet and kind, and I felt very, very bad. She was at a dead stop, and I hit her doing 50.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was because I came right up around.
Crash
I came
test
right
dummies
up
over here.
I came right up over the crest of a hill, and she was at a dead stop. And I saw her last minute. I was like, "Fuck," because her driveway was like right there, and it was a main road in Gale, right up the road in Gales Ferry.
Yeah.
From the McDonald's, like you're coming up that hill.
Oh, I know.
Right as I came up around that, dude, she was just like dead stopped.
know
I'm like, "Fuck!" And I tried to swerve, and I clipped her. But it destroyed the Volvo.
I got pulled over around there a couple days ago.
Did you? Do you realize how fast you were going?
He said, "You're going a little fast." And I don't question cops, but I thought, well, I'm a grown-ass man, and I don't go over 10 miles and over the speed limit because I don't want to get pulled over. So if I was going a little fast,
I was going Steely Dan.
I was going 7 miles an hour over the speed limit. I really got pulled over because I was going 7 miles an hour over the speed limit. But he tailed me. And they have the cameras that instantly pull up all your information. I didn't know my registration expired 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah, Jesus!
I didn't even know.
And I was coming back from a gig, so I see the whoop whoop whoop, and I go. First thought is, fuck. Regardless of what's about to happen, if anything happens, I have every musical instrument that I own in this car right now. Like, God damn it, what's going on? And luckily, because I really didn't know about my registration. And he asked where I was coming from, and he saw, well, your car's packed. I couldn't find my license. Because my car is, when I go to a gig, I have to jam pack my entire car.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know where I put my fucking fanny pack with my, under a seat somewhere, behind a bag somewhere, underneath the amp, behind an amp. I don't know. And he said my registration, and my face, I was just like, because I immediately thought, well, you're about to tow this car because you have, like, by law, you have to now.
Yeah.
And now what the fuck am I going to do with these tubes are going to sit in the cold all night?
Oh, we can't have that.
He let you go, though.
He let me go.
Like a warning?
A warning, and he said I should be giving you a ticket for 3 things: for your registration, for speeding, and for not having your license. And I was like, thank you, good night.
Yeah.
And then he gave me a card that said the way he presented, he said,
I met a state trooper.
he
sticker.
said I'm gonna give you. He said, I have to give you a racial profiling card, and I said, and he slipped it. He handed it to me, and I said, oh, what? And he looked at me like, don't fucking question me. A racial profile. And I looked at the card. It says, like, if you feel like you've been a racial profile. And I was like, okay.
Just like I look like I'm from the Midwest.
And let's be real, man. 3 ticketable offenses, 1 towable offense.
Yeah.
If I was not white.
You're like, thank you for this card, sir.
I mean, straight up. Like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I say I have to, fortunately, because of the luck of the draw of the skin I was born in. But unfortunately, that's the way the world is, because if I was not white, I would have been fucked.
Remember the time I was speeding home from that gig, and then we got a ticket, and Jade was slurping the McDonald's cup in the back seat.
Oh,
while
yeah.
Just slurping.
He was-
The cop is
the
sitting
cop
there
was
trying
giving
to,
me like a
talk shit.
$90 ticket.
Yeah. And all you hear is like,
And after I turned around, I was like, could you wait till I was done talking to the officer before you decided to
But this vanilla
slurp?
milkshake is so
This
delicious.
is exactly what she said.
Was it vanilla too?
I mean, maybe.
It's the best milkshake from McDonald's.
Chocolate,
Ooh,
bro.
strawberry.
You're
Strawberry. You're right. You're right.
Large, baby.
The large
so
isn't what it
wrong.
used to be, though. The large is like this
Says
big
you.
now.
Don't yuck my yum.
No,
Don't
the
yuck
strawberry.
my yum.
The strawberry
I
is.
yuck that saying. It sucks.
Oh my god.
Well, as the one who used to make them, which one is actually the best?
Which one is the? Well, we should
it's-
rephrase that. Which
it's
one's the
The
cleanest?
cleanest, because it's not the strawberry. Because they
Well-
have to use vanilla with a strawberry thing.
Yeah.
It's all
It's not pure.
dirty. All of it.
Nothing is safe.
None of it.
None of it's
is
safe.
clean. The reason you can't get the thing, and they're like, we're cleaning the machine. Let them
No.
clean it.
Yeah.
Let them
Yeah,
clean
please.
it. The
Trust me,
shit
it
is
needs to be cleaned.
fucking disgusting. I had a lady.
Yeah, because you really think a 17-year-old kid gives a shit about how dirty an ice cream machine is?
Dude, I had a lady, like, she used to come in every other Wednesday, and we cleaned the machine every other Wednesday. And she was like, can I get ice cream? And it was like 10 in the morning when you clean it.
She's like, I want that nice little bleach flavor in it.
And she was like, this is never working. And I had to be like, you come in every other Wednesday, right? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, we clean this every
It sounds like the
Wednesday.
problem is you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Learn the pattern.
Yeah, right. Also, who's eating ice cream at 10 a.m.? What kind of a monster is eating ice
that was
cream
my
at 10 a.m.?
that was my other point to this woman. I was like, you're
She's
also
like,
asking.
I need a hot fudge sundae by 10:05, or I'm going to
Thank you.
throw a shit.
Thank you. I'm like, you were also asking for a dessert item at breakfast time.
Maybe she works third shift.
Fuck her.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, there we have it. Good Lord.
Let's talk about some stuff we've been listening to.
Okay.
The weekly roundup.
Yeah.
I've been listening to my heart.
I've only been listening. I've only listened to one thing besides listening to hours of that Guardians of the Galaxy playlist, which I highly recommend. Very good songs. I listened to an album that I had listened to a decent amount of spins before, but I really got into it this week. Great gym music. Dua Lipa.
Oh yeah.
Future Nostalgia, her album from let's say, I think 2021, maybe early 2021 or late 2020.
She has a great Tiny Desk concert.
She does. Yeah, it is good. That record, though, is like everything I want from dancey pop stuff, because it is really like, it's more indebted to that Itali disco type of stuff. Yeah. That like it's like a souped up Donna Summer music, and it's actually like not just like mindlessly catchy. There are actual like good hooks and like well done songs, and she has 2 or 3 big hits off that record. But the whole record front to back, especially the deluxe edition, which has like 6 more tracks, highly recommend. Great gym music. So, when you're curling those 15-pound weights.
Sorry.
You were little.
I pull up my spot. I pull up my Spotify. Nobody else heard that but us, by the way. Oh. Sorry. I thought it was the forward arrow, but it was the play button. Carry on. Sorry.
So yeah, check that out. Great music, great pop music, and great gym music.
Right on, Luca.
I was listening to a lot of jazz this week. I played, the Miles Davis hits, etc. But I also played.
Wait, what does that mean? The Miles Davis hits, etc.
Yeah, no.
What are the hits?
I played Kind of Blue.
I said no hits.
Okay.
I listened to Birth of the Cool. Sure. Things of that nature. I also. No, I did not fucking listen to Doo-Bop.
Yeah,
that is my Miles Davis album.
Did you know that album is produced by Easy Mo B, who produced Notorious B.I.G.'s album?
Come on now,
it's not good.
Now.
Yeah,
they were doing the Doo-Bop.
You're right. It is not good. It's great.
Yeah. I have an emotional attachment to that album as well. And I own it on CD still.
You ever get a roundhouse kick to the face in one of these bad boys? He's wearing those fucking nylon pants.
Dude, he was crazy. So crazy. My kind of crazy, though.
Also listen to Working and Steamin'.
Working, Steamin', Shittin', Breathing.
Yeah, he released like 4 albums right before Kind of Blue. So I listened to 2 of those. Yep. But I listened to Combat Rock this week. By The Clash, and I just want to shout out how.
Hey. Oh, let's go,
guys! Come on.
Oh wait,
The
that's
Clash. This guy was that Ernest?
No, I'm not joking.
That was a bird.
What's the big? Is that Rock the Casbah on Combat Rock?
Yeah, it's also got Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Oh, sure, yeah.
But so I further implore somebody to listen to this record because it's just got it's a really great record to listen to all the way through. It's got this great, like almost like slam poetry verse by Allen Ginsberg. I think that song is called Ghetto Defender. But that is like my favorite part of this whole record. Ghetto Defended. And he's like, bust a worm on Acropolis, and he's just like saying all this like crazy like stuff.
It's a verse fit for doo-wop.
Yes, it's like that, but it fits so well because it's like Ginsberg and his it's like just done through this weird like reggae dub clash thing. The whole record is stylistically so good. It's also got like they went on a tour of I think Japan or China before this album came out. And it's got like a lot of like Eastern influences on it. Also, if you haven't listened to this album all the way, the Paper Planes sample is on this record.
Something about train, right?
That song is
Train in Vain.
Nope, that's off.
No, you're right.
Another album. That would be the song. Why can't I think of Straight to Hell?
Oh yeah.
The side one closer. Yeah. So it's got like a lot of great like reggae and like Vietnamese, Asian influence on like some great like political stuff that like still holds up today, and it's just a great record, and I like to throw it on really loud every once in a while.
Is that the one directly after London Calling?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Sandinistas.
Yeah. It's the album after Sandinista. Yeah. So it's the Clash's final statement. I think it's a really, really great album, and just for everybody, like just check out the verse by Allen Ginsberg, because it's just out of nowhere, and it's so good. It makes me smile every single time. So that's
nice.
That's jazz and the Clash.
You said Miles Davis records. What would you say is your favorite Miles Davis record?
I mean, it's always kind of Blue.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I like on that record, like All Blues is my favorite tune on that, and it's I just like the.
You have a favorite Miles Davis record? Today, I should say.
Doo-Bop. No, it's not. I'm just joking. Yeah, I probably have to go with Kind of Blue, just because it's like that was the album where I was like, oh, jazz. You know what I mean? That was that was the thing I plugged into that started the entire journey for me of listening to jazz. That and doo-bop, to not even be funny, but yeah. My cousin Eddie, shout out Eddie. Yeah. He played Kind of Blue for me for the first time, and I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
The other one I'd shout out that I love, I think is like a solid record, is Workin'. The Miles Davis record. That one is always on top of my favorite. The album opener, Never Entered My Mind, is one of the most beautiful Miles Davis songs.
Yeah. I like Miles Smiles a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I special place in my heart always for Sketches of Spain.
Oh, see,
that Luke's not a Sketches guy.
Because I love orchestral stuff. It's like West Side Story. It's like 1950s movie musical. Like I love that shit.
Yeah.
See, like I can get it, but it's just I like Miles Davis, just
jazz.
Yeah. With like a mute on and just And for that matter too, like if I'm listening to Miles Davis, the slower the Miles Davis is like playing, the more I like it. So
another one that I will say that I like is Man with the Horn.
Oh, yeah.
That came out in like 80s. That was, I think, that was like when Marcus Miller first linked up with him.
Is that the one with Time After Time on it?
Might be. Hold on, I'll have to look, but I'm not entirely sure.
Because he does one of those. He does that on an 80s record, I know.
Let's have a look. See. But yeah, I mean, it's different, right? Like in terms of Miles Davis, but his entire career, his entire discography is very explorative, and he goes through all different sorts of, like avenues and sounds and all that stuff.
No, Time After Time is on You're Under Arrest.
You're Under Arrest.
An album I promptly sold at the flea market.
Oh, yeah, look at that album cover. It's looking like a bandito.
Fucking terrible. I remember the kid I sold that to. The kid I sold it to.
Zorro?
Was the dude that also bought all of us. Remember when we sold all of our CDs at the flea market?
Oh my god! There were so many CDs I wish I kept. I mean,
I sold. No, I sold all my DVDs. I
remember when you sold your DVDs.
I still have my box of CDs.
Yeah,
guys, like I'll give you $60 for all of them. I was like,
take them,
please.
Yeah,
I have no way to play this format. Please,
you lived with me. That's a lie.
Please take them.
What I've been listening to this
PS2.
week has been. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's worth.
Yes, it is.
Well, no,
be honest.
It's been honestly. So I ended up getting myself a Cretan lute. It's called a lauto, right? And my cousin has a lira, which is like a bow instrument. Lauto. So
it's a luti.
So I've just been, man, I'm just going hard on the Cretan folk music because, like, I obviously would like listen to it for enjoyment, but now I'm listening to it because I'm actually trying to like learn how to play the music. And it has been very challenging, to say the least. I mean, I can pick up on stuff. I can pick up on stuff really quickly, but to actually make sure like every note is precisely the right note at the right speed and stuff like that, man. There's a lot of like technical stuff that comes with it, man. Where my hand is like killing me, dude. My fingers hurt. I'm getting the crazy calluses again and stuff because they're doubled up strings too. So just
back in it.
Yeah, man, just back in it. George Xilouris, he's like one of the, he's like one of the guys. But there's like Yanis Haroulis, and then there's like other dudes who are kind of like old school. So like Kaglis, that's like his last name. I think it's Michalis Kaglis. And then there is, what's his name? Marco Giannakis, who are just classic sort of like lute players. So yeah, just going down the rabbit hole. It's been a lot of fun to like reconnect, with my culture and like doing it in like a healthy way, not from like my only reference point for my culture is like the weird sort of old country village guilt that plagues people who have like this sort of cultural...
The curse of the goat.
The curse. My family's been cursed before, man.
By a goat?
Not by a goat, by a family.
By the goat.
By himself. The goat.
If you don't carry Madame Zoroni up the hill.
Yeah.
Hey, man. That shit's real.
I will curse you for always and forever. Dude, what do you know about holes?
Come on, man.
I know.
Stanley Yelnats.
Fucking John Voight, man.
Louis
Fucking John Voight.
Louis Sackar. Who's the woman in that, too?
Oh, it's
Sigourney. Is it Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah.
Oh, Sigourney. I thought you were talking about the actual... No, like the woman who does the cursing, the great aunt. Or the great.
Madame Zeroni.
Grandpa.
Yeah, Madame Zeroni. Yeah, that lady. She voiced Esma in The Emperor's New Groove. I can't remember her name.
Oh, Eartha Kitt?
Is that Eartha Kitt?
Well, Eartha Kitt was Esma.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
I don't know if she's in Holes.
Yeah.
She might be.
She plays...
She was Catwoman on the Batman TV show.
Oh, was she really? I didn't know.
She sang Santa Baby? Yeah,
Yo, that scene where they're digging the hole and the kid's like...
That scene where they're digging the hole. You mean the whole fucking movie?
It's 90 minutes of digging holes. The movie's not called Tent. It's called Holes.
The one where the girl's like, Grandpa, I'm tired of digging this hole. And he's like, you're going to keep digging. It's fucking so good. I can watch on a loop.
You're going to keep digging. Oh, man. All right. Well,
fucking yellow spotted lizards.
Yellow spotted lizards. What was it? The jarred onions? Isn't that what they're eating?
Caveman, bro.
Oof. Crazy. Think about that.
Peaches.
Oh, it was canned peaches.
Yeah, remember?
Why did I think it was onions?
Because he does eat onions.
Onions
Oh,
on
he
top
does
of the
eat, yeah.
on top of the hill. The peaches make him sick.
Onions and peaches paired together very
Delicious.
well.
I could fix that.
I can fix
I can
that.
fix
You're going to dig that. You're going to keep digging.
The one thing that lady couldn't fix was racism.
That's right.
She couldn't teach racism.
And it's 80 years later and we still can't figure it out.
I know.
Digging up them holes.
Yep.
Yep.
So there's a metaphor there.
This ain't no Girl Scout camp.
No.
Life ain't no Girl Scout
Well,
camp.
now that this podcast has gone completely off the rails.
I forgot the train whistle at
Come
home
on.
again, man.
We are conductorless.
Once again,
All aboard!
Once again.
I'd like to just sit down
I'd
and
like
have
to
a
use my
moment
audio ice cream cone.
with the listeners. It's been a great time here at the music podcast known as Get in the Garage. We've talked jazz.
Yes.
We've talked holes. We've talked strange brew.
We've talked totaled cars.
Total cars. We've talked police encounters.
Police encounters.
And I hope what you've really learned is to love one another.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
have a good week at school, everyone.
Have a good week at school.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.